Hey everyone, before I bring you to the rest of this video, wanted to record this real quick because there's been some changes to the lab from when I went through this video live and some really cool changes. So you'll notice when I was going through this lab, I had a suggestion on initial access. Specifically, as I was doing initial access, I thought, hey, this other person, specifically Angelina Lee, if I'm saying their name correct, that's a better person for initial access based on how the lab is set up. And you'll notice as I'm going through this, I say that specifically, I even fall down a rabbit hole trying to get into her account. Well, it ended up being somebody else when I did the lab. But here's what's so cool about Pwned Labs. I did that lab on Saturday. I live streamed it on Saturday, and I had that very minor feedback, and I sent Ian a message, who's the founder of Pwned Labs, thanked him for the lab and just said, hey, I think this other way would be a more realistic attack path for initial access. So I sent him that message on Saturday, and by Monday, he had completely updated the lab. He updated the lab guide to reflect my feedback I submitted to him. So I just want to let you know, if you are following along with my walkthrough video, that initial access is going to be different. It's going to be what I talk about in the video, Angelina Lee, that I recommend, not the one that you see in the video. So I don't want you to be confused, and I want to say huge kudos to Pwned Labs for doing that. And I was talking to Ian, I told him I was going to make a quick video as an intro to the walkthrough video, and he said, yes, encourage other people to give feedback. So here's the thing, if you're going through a lab on Pwned Labs and you're like, hey, this part doesn't make sense, this part's confusing, or this part isn't realistic, let them know in Discord. Pwned Labs is super responsive, and they will change the labs based on your feedback. So hey, without any further ado, let's jump to the walkthrough video. Thanks for watching, and let's dive into this lab together. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're gonna do some more Azure pen testing in Pwned Labs. Now, if you've never heard of Pwned Labs, you need to check it out. Pwned Labs is by far one of the best platforms you can learn cloud pen testing. They have hands-on realistic labs that cover AWS, Azure, and GCP, and a lot of the labs are completely free. So you can go to pwnedlabs.io today, create a free account, check out the labs, and if you enjoy it, hey, sign up for a premium sub. A premium sub is only $200 for the entire year, but I might just have a 15% off coupon that you can use if you join the HackSmarter Discord. A link is in the description of this video, and send me a personal message on there. I will send the code over to you, and you can get 15% off that annual premium membership. But without any further delay, we're going to dive into a pretty new Azure lab. At least it's new as I'm doing this live. Probably won't release for a few weeks this video, so when you watch the video, probably isn't a super new lab. But this is the lab. Abuse dynamic groups in Entra ID for privilege escalation. Let me share my screen. If all of that makes little sense to you, that's totally fine. We will work through it together. Now, this is, I believe, a premium lab, so if you don't have a premium sub, you won't be able to do it on your own, but you have to live vicariously through me. And here's the other thing, y'all. What's probably different from me and other content creators you watch on YouTube is most of the time, I do not go through these labs before I show them on stream. What you see on stream is me working through it live, learning the material live, and just stumbling my way through it. So I can promise you, I am going to make silly mistakes. I am going to miss obvious things. And hey, if you're in chat right now during the live stream, help me out. Like, let's look through this together. Let's see, let's go down different rabbit holes. Let's investigate. Let's learn as if we were all sitting together. But our first step, and let's go ahead and just make some notes for this. So I'm going to grab this name title and we'll go over to this. Let me create a new lab here. Super long title, but hey, we'll work with it, and we will make this full width, and we'll go ahead and just make a page inside this, and maybe we'll call this our scope. Well, you know, we could probably just do it on one page. Let's just start on one page. I don't want to make it overly confusing. So I'm going to go like this. We'll do scope like that and jump back over. We begin with a GitHub repository, it looks. So we'll just say starting point. Is that what that is? Application management. All right. So we're giving a GitHub repository. Let's see if we can understand this scenario right here. So Mega Big Tech wants security to be their #1 business priority, but acknowledge that they still have a way to go. Your red team, the HackSmarter Security Red Team, is tasked with the objective of accessing the secret internal algorithm for their social app and to help them improve their security along the way. We have identified a public GitHub repo that belongs to the company. Can you use this to your advantage? You know, if I'm honest, probably not, but we're gonna give it our best shot. But there is our scenario. we'll just say, yeah, H3. Oh, does that work too? Can I just do 3? Whatever, scenario. So there's our scenario. And let's look at our learning outcomes. I'd like to use these kind of as a target so we kind of know what we are working on. So we'll say goals. And let's drop those in here. Well, I don't want them to go like that. There we go. So our first goal is identify and use an Azure SAS token and Git repository. Second is Blob Storage enumeration and exfiltration. Third is Entra ID and administrative unit enumeration. Fourth is leverage user administrator permissions to abuse dynamic groups. And then finally, identify and use GitHub deploy keys. So this is our first goal. What I want to do is let's do another one here, and we will just paste in this goal. So this is what we're working on. Identify and use a SAS token in a repository. No, I don't want to connect GitHub. Leave me alone. So let's go ahead and just check out this GitHub, shall we, and see what we can find. Here is application management, our public archive portal to manage mega big tech talent acquisition process. All right, so we have our index.html. Probably nothing too interesting here, I don't think. We could also just download this. Open a new tab, call it terminal, and we'll cd to Pwned Labs. Oh, cd Pwned Labs like that. Make directory abuse dynamic groups. The other thing I want to do is let's open up my Azure server. Let's call it RDP. My Azure server right here. And if you're wondering what this is, let's close this out. This right here is just like a Windows server that I'm hosting on another machine that I RDP into. And the reason for that is my main computer right here that I use for streaming only has 16 gigs of RAM, believe it or not. So when I'm trying to run a Kali VM and then live stream on OBS to 3 different platforms, if I try to also launch a Windows VM on this computer, my computer would melt. So I call this the Tyler Cloud. I'm actually hosting this VM right here on another computer, and I just RDP into it. But often when you're doing Azure pen testing, you need both Linux and Windows, just because there's some things with Azure PowerShell that from my experience just works better in Windows. So whenever I do Azure stuff, I try to have this Azure VM in the background in case I need to switch over to that for any of the tooling as we play around with things. We have this application management file right here. So do I have code on here? Beautiful. Apparently I have a flag there. I don't even know what that flag's for. But let's go to Tyler, Pwned Labs, abuse dynamic groups, open. Okay, so we have this index I already said before. I don't think there's anything super interesting in here, but we can go ahead and look it over. We're looking for some SAS tokens, right? Now, if you don't know what that is, ChatGPT is a huge help for those things. Let's go back over to here. We can just ask, right? What are Azure SAS tokens? Azure Shared Access Signature Tokens are a security mechanism designed to grant limited access to resources in Azure storage services. These tokens provide a way to give clients access to a specific resource or a set of resources without sharing your account keys. Here's a breakdown of what SAS tokens are and how they work. So if we get a SAS token, we can access resources in the Azure account. That's the big idea that we need to understand. And we might have some SAS tokens that will leak here. You could use a tool such as like TruffleHog, and maybe we'll end up using it, that will automatically search for secrets in here and see if it can find it. But we could also Control F and look for it. So here's an upload resume. That's where I think, hey, maybe, oh, I thought maybe the SAS token would be there, but it's not. Here's our blob service endpoint. So that actually might come in helpful because we have an actual blob there. We could go ahead and just grab this for our notes. All right, that might come handy as we're looking at this code. I don't see any SAS stuff here that's processing. There's that DLL, so that's not going to be any helpful to us. Am I just blind? Did I already miss it? Oh, and resumes, there's a container for testing that says it's deleted. Here's a SAS token. Oh, the SAS token's empty. We just have the main branch. What are the commands to see like previous Git stuff? Let's check out this initial commit. Maybe we have stuff in some of this previous history. Because I can see where the SAS token was initially. Oh, hey, there we go. I was right. So I can see the SAS token was here initially, and I thought it might be in a previous commit, and I was right. So here it is. Let's go ahead and copy that. And drop over to here. So now we have this SAS token, and we could ask GPT if we didn't know what was going on, which most of the time I don't, although I do believe I know what's going on here. So I think there's a better way we can do this. That's just showing the upload process. If we go to our VM, there's Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. I think this is just for Windows. Right? You can see some of the other labs I was working on. I haven't used this in a while. But let's try this. Attached to a resource. And it was a blob, right? Blob service endpoint. So let's try to do a... Let's try this. Shared access signature. Blob container or directory SAS URL. Would it be something like this? Oops. So resumes with our SAS there, connect. Okay, well, I think I at least connected to it, right? Yep, because I can see these blobs right here. One thing, I don't think we have any history information. Oh no, it's just this resume. I think this is something else. So I think I connected to it, but I'm not seeing any information in this blob. Oh, server failed to authenticate. Okay. Well, that would explain it. Unable to get properties for blob container. So I bet I did this wrong. Let's see if ChatGPT can help us. Yeah, I have that part done. Okay, sure enough, that is what I tried. Right? That's exactly what I did. Let's try it again. We'll go to this. Let me just try it this way. The URL must have a path. Okay, what if I do this one? Okay. Again, the specified container does not exist. So maybe, is there a different blob that we can connect to with that SAS? Because remember, it said this is just used for testing that's been deleted. So what is the production one? Because the reason our shared access signature fails, beginner, I'm less than a beginner. The reason it fails is because that blob doesn't exist. What am I missing, chat? Do I have to guess the container name? Like, is it a different container? Maybe we'll just go like this. It's totally not what I copied, but okay. Well, I guess ChatGPT did tell me what it was. You think I could, like, use fuff? Or will it rate limit me? Wait, what does it say doesn't exist? Container not found. Does that mean the MBT file share is not found? Use Storage Explorer to access the data, or Python. So that's what I was trying to use, a Storage Explorer. I'm already stuck. You guys have any idea in chat? I feel like you could potentially try to brute force that, where my notes are. Brute force the container. Do we have, with this signature, is there anything, any information we have? I don't think so. Container name resume. So I feel like you have to brute force the container to find the right container. I'd assume a tool can do that. If not, I should make one. All right, let's do this. How would I... Usually it messes up the syntax of these tools. If it doesn't work, I'll just look at help and do it myself. See what I can do. We'll do user share word lists dirbuster directory list 2.3 medium.txt. We're fuzzing that. That all looks good. Yep. Don't even know if this would be the right way to do it. But that's my only idea. Let me get caught up on chat. Cyber Diary said, so I signed up for Microsoft Azure free trial and was doing a lab where I made a sort of SOC using their Sentinel and learned some KQL and made some publicly accessible Windows VMs. I ended up getting charged over $100. Really not good for me because I don't have money. So, I mean, so Cyber Diary, whether it's Azure or AWS or GCP, anytime you're doing a lab like that, one of the first things you should set up is like a billing notifier. So like in my AWS and Azure account, I have a notifier that if my account hits $5, it sends me an email to multiple emails, so I know to check it out. I don't know if you can really do much with Azure. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to get that money back, but you know, hindsight's always 20/20. But any labs you do in the cloud, you need to set up a cost notifier so that when you go over what your budgeted cost is, it notifies you and you can shut things down. I don't think this is the way in. Was there, let me keep looking at this. Was there something I missed here? That's the container for testing. It says deleted, which it sure seems to be. I can't actually access it. There's not much that's helpful there for us. And that's not doing it there. All right. I'm not just going to stay stuck forever. Let's look at what obvious thing I'm missing. Yeah, we found all this. Okay, we found all this. Yep. All right, so specify the storage version, the services. Whoa, so you can just do it that way from the AZ CLI? Hold up. My original thought, let me go back to this. Let me look at Storage Explorer a little closer. I was right. Fafuff wasn't going to do it. But let's look at Storage Explorer. I think if I do this properly... Boom. I think I did it right now. Yeah, okay, beautiful. I just had my syntax wrong in my when I was trying to set up Storage Explorer. That's all my issue was. My syntax was incorrect. So actually, let me just go ahead and show that in my screenshot. So I did storage account or service, shared access key signature, put it in like this, remove the resumes because that's a deleted one, like that, right? And open up Flameshot. All right, drop that in our notes. So I wasn't totally off. I was thinking the right thing. I just clearly didn't quite understand how the storage stuff worked in Storage Explorer. Of course, you can do it through the CLI as well, but hey, if we have a GUI, why not make use of the GUI, right? So we have a few things here. We have Angela Lee's resume. Let's check this out. Let's see what her resume looks like. See if she's legit. What I'm doing now is I just double clicked it to download it. We'll view it in, let's just do Firefox. So here we have Angela Lee, a software engineer. Probably don't want to be dropping people's resumes, right? So that would be a finding for sure. What is our employee onboarding? Do we have credentials in employee onboarding? Welcome to Mega Big Tech. We're excited to have you on board and look forward to working together to achieve great things. Upon joining Mega Big Tech, your default password for all corporate systems is MBT Future. Well, that is definitely a helpful thing to see. I hate that Notion doesn't automatically align left for me. All right, your Mega Big Tech email address will be provided to you upon joining. Use your email and the default password to access your corporate email account. Ooh. So I wonder if that other resume we found was an employee that got hired, and we might be able to access her email account by logging in with a default password and her username and password. I wonder. Angelina Lee. So her username could be like angelina.lee@megabigtech.com or alee@megatech.com or angelina@megabigtech.com. Those would be my guesses on what her possible email would be. And if she hasn't set her password, her password might still be that default, right? Let's give that a shot. So we'll try this one first. Is there a reason I can't paste? Come on. Okay. Okay. Maybe that hunch is incorrect. Let's look at what other information we might have here. She has her own website. Oh my. Did I just get rickrolled? I'm going to yell at Ian for that later. Amazing. The machine learning at Berkeley Club is Rick Astley. Does this also Rick Astley? Yep, sure enough. Freaking A. Rickrolled. Amazing. All right, anyways. Was there anything else we had here? Nothing in queues, nothing in tables. Oh, we do have stuff in tables. Nothing interesting, though. It's all just default stuff. Okay, the other thing we can do is see if, close that. We might be able to see, is there any soft deleted blobs, anything that's been deleted, anything that we can recover, and it doesn't look like it. Sometimes with blobs, you can manage history, and you can see other things that may have been deleted from here, but I'm not seeing that on this one. I agree, Paris. That's better. Have him update it from Rick Astley to my YouTube. It should go to my Black Hoodie song. I got my Cali bootied up and my black hoodie on. All right, I think I successfully did this. We identified and used the Azure SAS token in the Git repository. Now we're trying to do blob storage enumeration and exfiltration. I kind of already did that as well. Like we did blob storage and enumeration right here, right? Like we got into the blob. We saw that they have a default password here, MBT future. But I don't know Angela Lee's username. It's not Angela.Lee. It's not A Lee. It's not Angelina. How about Angelina L? We could try a few different tools to get that information. Something like this. Did I try just like that? I feel like I'm overcomplicating it if I try to use a tool to guess username permeations. Of course, that's possible. But you know what? I didn't do just Angela Lee like that. We could try that. Dang it. All right, I'm not going to waste my time on this part either. The nice thing is the walkthrough. Let's just see what obvious thing I'm missing. So I think I was right so far. Like we're going to use Angela Lee's name and the default password to log in as her. Do they recommend brute forcing for users? Or password spraying, rather? Oh, so I'm right. We do create email variations. All right. I just want to make sure I was in a rabbit hole. But sweet, I'm actually quite happy I'm thinking along the right way as we attack this. Let me just back up. I think I have that tool. User Finder. Yeah. All right. Oh, I made a YouTube video on that tool. This is CD to home, Tyler, Pwned Labs, YouTube. Oh. All right, validated domain name. Oh, and this is by the mayor at TCM, right? He's the creator of this. Yeah, I made an entire YouTube video about this. Awesome. So, can we, let's see what this all does. Validate if a domain exists, run user finder gives a single email, reads email address from file, sets timeout, writes valid emails to text, writes valid emails to CSV, prints output verbosely, password sprays a list of accounts, sets a lockout timer, password to be tested, valid emails. So it doesn't make an email permeation list for us. So let's go back to what I was trying to do initially. Let's look at a better tool. So file which contains names, a domain name, an output file, email created method. So I think we could just do nano email generator.py. I didn't even spell generator right. Is there issues in the code? Oh, it's written in Python too. Just go like this. No, that's actually a lot of code, isn't it? Oh, it's not terrible. We'll just have GPT do that for us. Do the hard work. This person, is this actively maintained at all? I'm going to go with probably not. Oh, Jesus, a pretty new thing. Oh, 7 years ago. Okay. Well. Did not mean to do that. That's probably why it's not. Why it's written in Python too. Let's see if this works. If I just YOLO it. There we go. Do I have to give it a legit file? Okay. All right, we'll do, so domain megabigtech.com, file, name.txt, out. Okay. What's the method? I might just find a different tool. I'm not going to play around with this old tool. Default is FNLN, which will be one of the followings. Whoa. Okay, forget that. There's better tools out here for this exact purpose. I've used them. Let's do email permutator GitHub. Here we go. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Is there not a Python script that does this? An old one. All right, let's try it. Guys, tell me a good tool that does this. I've stumbled across many of them in the past, but I obviously need to bookmark them because I always run into this freaking issue. Generate list of emails based on name, GitHub. Oh, what am I trying to do? I'm just trying to get a list of email permutations based on a name. Like, it gives me all the possible email permutations because my guessing permutations weren't working. This is random names. Oh, wait, no. It shouldn't be this hard. It should just freaking take. No, we need her company email, not her personal email. Guys, I'm about to make my own Python script at this point. Why is there not a simple Python script that does this crap? Oh my goodness. Accepts. Isn't AI amazing? The frick? Oh, it wants it. It actually wants it not in commas. Oh no. Guys, it shouldn't be this freaking hard. What is a good tool that does this? I'm not trying to find real names, P. Andrews. This is all just part of a lab. Cup is just for passwords, isn't it? Okay, first let's remove this stupid freaking email generator BS crap that's spelled wrong. There we go. That's all I wanted you to do. Was that hard? Okay. Now, if we do Python 0365 Finder, we want to validate a list of emails. No, let's brute force so we can password spray a list of emails using graph. Can be used to identify valid account credentials with MFA enabled. So let's try that. So we know our password is going to be this. So there's our password. We need to escape that character and escape this character. There we go. That's our password. We want to do password spray. Do I have to pass it? Actually, let's just validate first. So we'll do Python O360 Finder R emails.text and then W valid.text. Well, shoot. Oh, we got another. Nephos is dropping a link. Maybe I didn't have enough permutations in mine. My little Python script. What's this? That'll do like, okay, you know what, guys? I'm done wasting my time on this. Oh, guys, I'm targeting the wrong person. I'm targeting Angela Lee. I'm supposed to be targeting Jeff Armstrong? Isn't he a current employee? Like, wouldn't he have already updated his email information? Am I missing something? Would it not be cooler? All right, in my opinion, just my opinion. Oh, you could have used username anarchy plus bash for loop to generate that email list 30 seconds. Yeah, I probably could. I didn't see your previous message. But my thinking on this, I think I was approaching this part wrong. I was thinking, okay, we have an Angela Lee resume here, so a new employee, and we have a password here. So, hey, they hired Angela Lee because that's her resume, and she looks like a promising candidate. They onboarded her and gave her the default password, but apparently I'm approaching this wrong. We're supposed to be attacking Jeff Armstrong. If we go back to this Jeff Armstrong right there. But that would be, I guess, feedback. I don't know if Ian or someone else made this lab. But I would think that if Jeff Armstrong's a developer, he may have already updated his password. Like, I'd assume he's not using a default password. Whereas the new person they hired, right, like the Angelina Lee or whatever her name was, if they hired her, I think it's more realistic that she would be using a default password if she's a new employee and they say, hey, update your email here. Curious about what you guys think in chat. Am I off base with that? Do you agree with that? Remove. That's his name, right? All right, did that. Neflo says, I would have gone with Angelina as well. Yeah, it just seems a little more realistic to me. Like, Angelina seems like a new employee, and you would think, hey, it's in the storage account. She may be a new employee. She may have not set her password properly. But apparently it's actually Jeff Armstrong. There it is. Angelina Lee would have been cooler. Paris said, I agree with the new employee thoughts. In pen test, do you ever see current employees using the default password like this? No, not usually. We will see employees using very weak passwords like company name plus the year, but not generally a default password, but still like weak passwords. Yeah, absolutely. But a new employee, I mean, might be a little more likely because of what I just shared. Let's go ahead and log in. All right, what's with Jeff A at megabigtech.com. And now I bet that's going to be that default password. Yeah, I'm logged in. Oh, what? The account's locked? Is that supposed to be that way? Anyways, let's just go. We'll come back to that. Angelina Lee's resume, Azure storage account. So I assumed she was the new employee. Can't type. And we'll drop a screenshot. Or maybe I'll just copy this so we have the full syntax into my notes. All right, so that's our syntax. You know what I could do as well? I'll do it the non-hacker way, this way. I'm putting this in my GitHub for the next time I need this tool, because I swear I need it quite often, and I always stumble around forever. And it's in my public GitHub, so if you just go to Tenebrae93, you can find that tool yourself if you're watching this and wanna use that tool. All right, I wonder if it's locked just because other people are doing the lab. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Let me just try again. Where's my notes at? So it's Jeff A. Jeff A is his name. And this is our default password. Gosh, why is stuff not copying properly? Holy crap. Why do I not even have the option to copy? Freaking copy. And why does it keep opening that up? Because I don't know what I'm doing. You guys think that account's supposed to be locked, or is there something bugged with the lab? Account is locked. You've tried to sign in too many times with an incorrect user ID. You shut your dirty mouth. You try to sign in too many times with an incorrect ID. Let me look at our goals again. Entra ID administrative unit enumeration. I'd have to imagine. I don't think it's supposed to be locked. Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to be locked. We could try. I mean, I could try it in PowerShell. I'm pretty sure if it's locked though in AZCLI, it's going to be locked in PowerShell. But I guess let's give it a shot. Give it a second. Come on, Azure. I believe in you. I'm going to drink while I wait. Do 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 do. Will it ever be done? I'm gonna go with no, it's not. All right. Why the frick would it try to open Internet Explorer, y'all? My default's Chrome. What the heck? And our default password is this. Gosh dang it. What? What's the difference between the PowerShell connection and the AZ CLI? If it's locked in the AZ CLI, wouldn't it be locked on PowerShell as well? Oh no, okay. It was just locked temporarily from the brute force attack. It unlocked it itself. Although it didn't find any subscriptions. But it did unlock itself. Well, it didn't find any subscriptions. No subscriptions found for Jeff A. at megabigtech.com. Oh, please continue to log in. The following tenants don't contain accessible subscriptions. Use AZ login. Allow no subscriptions to allow tenant level access. That's actually what I want to do. Okay, we got logged in that way. So apparently, I think this locked it when I did this spray attack, maybe? Although it only tried that account once. I didn't do a password brute force or anything. It just tried jeff8 megabigtech.com. I wouldn't think that would lock it unless it did a password spray attack, which I didn't do. I'm not sure. That'll be a mystery to me. All right, so we are connected via AZ CLI. Hey, what up, Hate Handles? So, hey, look, you're live. I'll come by and can return the favor. How are you? I'm doing well, my friend. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you hanging out. T-minus 14 days till OSCP. Good luck, my friend. You got this. Let me know how it goes once you take it. So we have to do Entra ID and administrative unit enumeration. So there's a few cool things that we can do. Okay, it's obviously in Thunderdome. Let me Pwned Labs. So token tactics is a really cool tool. Let me show it to you guys. Close this now. We can use our refresh token to change it to other tokens. So like a refresh token is going to be, actually, you know, I'm not going to explain this very well. Explain Azure refresh tokens versus access tokens. In Azure, when dealing with Azure AD, so first, it's no longer called Azure AD, it's called Entra ID. Understanding the distinction between refresh and access is crucial for managing authentication authorization process effectively. So access token is a short-lived token, blah, blah. So access token scope specific, short-lived in JWT format, right? But if you get a refresh token, you can get new access token. So if we can obtain a user's refresh token, we can actually generate our own access tokens for other services we want to access. Blah, blah. And one way we can automate this is with Graph Runner. Let's go to this actually. CD Graph Runner. All right, import module. Well, here, let's go to the wiki. So if this doesn't work, we'll use token tactics for it. But let's just try to do Graph Runner right here. So we'll do get graph tokens. Device login. And our code is this right here. Come on, I believe in you. What's his password again? Is it gonna work? Please. Beautiful. All right, we got our token. Awesome. So now we can go ahead and use this token to dump some data in the account. So if we look at recon and enumeration, let's see what we can all do. We could dump apps. I don't think that'll be helpful. We could do this. We get all the users real quick. That might be a helpful thing to do. We'll just call this mega big tech users.text. There we go. We have all the users from the account now. We can go just copy this. Right, let's copy that and let's go over here and we'll just nano users.text. Okay, we have all the users. You know, one thing that could be interesting, I don't think this is going to be the way in, but we do know what the the domain's default password is. It's very possible that if one user was using the default password and it was allowed, if this is a real world environment, more users would be using that default password. So we could use that O365 tool and password spray all these accounts and see if they, let's just do it. Well, I don't know if this is the way in, like I shared before, but let's just do it. Home, Tyler, YouTube. Oh, was it Pwned Labs YouTube? So what we would want to do how do we password spray? What's this E-list? Is that our .text file? Password spray a list of emails using graph. I'm assuming that's what the elist is, right? Oh, come on. Go to the right thing. So, I don't think it's going to work. But in a real world environment, I even do this like in an internal AD pen test with CrackMap exec. Oh, shoot. Huh. Well, would you look at that? I just said I don't think this is going to work, and sure enough, it worked. My hunch was correct. Anyways, like in an internal pen test, I do this all the time. If I find credentials, I'll password spray with CrackMap exec, now NetMap exec. And so I just had a hunch, like in the real world, I would do that. And hey, it worked in the lab. So that's cool. Very real world. That attack right there, super real world. Something that you'll encounter on an actual pen test. I didn't think that was going to be the right way in, though. That's actually really cool. So we know we have a username right here, Felix, with the password of the default password. Let's just see. Can I log just right into Azure login with that credential? Like right through the portal? I don't know what rights they have, but let's find out. Do we have portal access, ladies and gentlemen? I think we do. Okay, so I have access to the portal as Felix. What rights do you think Felix has? Can we see storage accounts? Can we see anything? No. Can we see, what's our dashboard look like? Nothing interesting. Oh, we have a key vault. We have an engineering vault 1 key vault. That might be of interest to us, don't you think? And we have a secret here called aljo deploy. Let's just grab a screenshot of this so we show where it's at. Oh, this operation is not allowed by RBAC. I don't have permission to look at the secret. But we do have this engineering vault. Let's go back to what I was doing here. Like, let's not get ahead of myself. We do have access to more users, but we should probably continue to enumerate our current user that we have access to. Did I close that? Shoot. There might be other information we can get. Right, we were able to brute force. We have that information. What's the name of the lab? Abuse dynamic groups. Do you think maybe we should check the dynamic groups based on the name of the lab? Let's give it a shot. I love it. I love it when it doesn't copy. Like, you guys saw me copy that crap. Okay. We found two dynamic groups. One's called Algo Access. Well, isn't that interesting? And it's based on a job title. Just drove by my house. It's based on a job title called Algorithm Administrator. Can we just set our own job title and call ourselves that? That's what I'm thinking initially. Dynamic groups. Algorithm administrator and get access to the secrets. Let's find out. So I don't think I can access my user, or not access, change their name. Right, I can't edit there. What about our other user? The other user that we have compromised. I didn't see an option to choose another account. Why do I not have that option? Oh, sign up a different account. All right, let's do that. And let's try our Jeff A account. Does this guy, can he set his own stuff? Let me set my job title. Please let me set my job title. Please let me set it. I can't set it. It's set there. All right, well, let's go back to our notes. We have two dynamic groups. The first one is if the user job title equals algorithm administrator, they're automatically added to the group algo access. We have another one called server backups, restricted membership, and an emergency access using breaklast.txt if the user principal name contains admin. I'm unable to update that as well. So neither of my accounts are going to have access to that. There's algo deploy. That's what I want access to, is algo deploy. Neither of my current accounts have access to that. Let's go back to Graph Runner and see what other information we can do. I probably can't read other people's emails. Let's scroll up. And there's some other cool stuff we can do here, such as pillage modules. Let's check out some of these. Let's try this. We're just going to search our mailbox for the word password. Okay, that's cool. I love it. I mean, you guys saw me freaking click copy. Okay, nope. Let's try. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. Is that an admin user password? Enter the result number of the files that you want to download. Where the frick is the result number? File name, location. Bro, there's only one file, isn't there? I don't know how to download it. Well, that's her password right there, right? Yeah, we have her password. Let's check it out. So we have the user, Lindsay admin, and this is her password. And then we have this dev environment, mega product 777 one password Lindsay. Let's go back to our users. What? Is there no Lindsay? Oh no, she's right there. Lindsay Miller? You think that's the same Lindsay? I wonder if Lindsay Miller is the same Lindsay. Let's find out. This overall, this is a really fun lab. Like, I got stuck a few times. Most of it was my errors. The only feedback so far is it would have been cool to have that new employee resume be the one with the default password, because that's immediately where my mind jumped since it gave us that resume. But outside of that, this has been fun. What do you guys think of it so far? Those of you watching on stream, would love to hear your thoughts. Bro, besides the fact that Notion doesn't freaking copy and paste when I Control C, why do I have to right click? Why is it? Look at this. Copy. Look at that. It doesn't copy. I have to literally right click. And then it's trying to color it. No. I want you to just copy it. Notion. Yes. Oh, frick. Never mind. Okay, well, that didn't work for that, but what if we password spray? Maybe one of these users is using that password. Lockout detected. Shoot, I locked these accounts. Well, doesn't that just suck? Lindsay's account's locked. So we don't know if that's to be the valid password, but it doesn't seem to be, although like Surely this isn't a password, is it? Oh, shoot. I've locked out all the accounts at this point. There must be other people doing this lab. And we're all trying to password spray this beast on this tenant, right? So it's locking out the accounts, I bet. Neffel said, I used Notion for a couple of years, but ended up moving to Obsidian. Screwface said, I control C in Notion with not an issue. I do too most of the time. The only time I have an issue is when I'm running Notion inside of my VM. Don't know why. Well, this is definitely an admin account, like an on-prem admin account. Let's, I might look at the walkthrough because I don't know if something's locked and that's why it's not working. But let's continue to pillage some information that we might have access to. You know, what we want to do is log into each one of these users and pillage information and see what we can find. Nope. Reezy Dev said, is this Hack the Box? This is not. This is called Pwned Labs. Actually, but Pwned Labs is actually created by a former leader at Hack the Box, someone who was like head of a lot of their cloud stuff, made Pwned Labs, which is kind of like Hack the Box with all these CTFs, but they're all in the cloud. So you can learn Azure, GCP, AWS pen testing. That's what I'm working on. It's pwnedlabs.io. You can check it out. So this is just checking for user attributes. Probably not going to be there, but believe it or not, I found a password in user attributes in Active Directory before in the real world on a pen test. So you never know. Okay, now what we're going to do is, eventually I need to go to bed, but I want to solve this lab. Now we're going to device log in, but with our other user that we compromised. Maybe they have additional access to things that we can pillage with our graph module stuff. And that user was this person. What's up, Zach? Good to have you here, my friend. All right, now that we're signed in as this person, let's do some of these same commands. Okay. Trying to dump their Teams message. Oh, we got forbidden. Okay. So that's that Lindsay user again, which, do you think this is maybe her password? Did I even copy the right thing? Okay, yeah, I did. Okay, guys. What's our notes say? I might have to break down, look at the walkthrough. It's getting late. Entra ID and administrative unit enumeration. Leverage a user administrator permissions. So yeah, if I can get a user administrator, I can abuse the dynamic groups by just updating the job title, right? Because then I can put myself in either dynamic group if I update the job title. But how do I get access to the user administrator? The two accounts we for sure have access to do not have the user administrator permission. One would think this Lindsay admin account, would have user administrator permissions based on the name of, admin. But I tried this for her password. I tried this as her password. And it's not working. Do you guys see what I might be missing? There's only one Lindsay, so we know it's lindsay.miller@megabigtech.com. Why would it not be one of those passwords? I feel like I'm copying it wrong. Like it has to be that password. That seems to be the obvious thing it's leading us to. Okay, we're going to look at the walkthrough. I want to see if I'm right. Oh, I think I'm wrong. Maybe this is what I need to do, is using our Jeff account. All right, let's jump back to Jeff. I think I'm authenticated as Jeff right here. And if we look at our modules, let's go back to enumerate. Maybe I need to check my permissions on here. Jeez. That's not very user-friendly here. What can I do? I can read basic properties, read members of administrative units, read basic properties of service principals, invite guest users, read device memberships. So all these things are allowed. That's really not that helpful because I'm not going to read through that, just to be real. I mean, in a real pen test, I might, but is there not one that says like, hey, you can maybe abuse this permission? If not, there should be, like Paku does that with AWS. Maybe updatable groups? You think maybe that would be helpful? Your default directory? Okay, I don't think that's helpful. We already got dynamic groups. Okay, we're going to have to follow the walkthroughs. I don't know how to do this. We did find that Regio stuff. This doesn't have it in the walkthrough, but we did find that secret store. We just can't access it ourselves. See, I was trying to find a different way of doing it than PowerShell here, because there's no way I'll remember this stuff. Is there a way I can find this information with like Graph Runner? Because I will never remember PowerShell commands. It's just not going to happen. Okay, I'm going to have to use PowerShell. You can't do it in the CLI. Oh, shoot, that worked. So if we do it this way, we can get that information without the confusing PowerShell. Okay, that's good to know. Let's drop that to our notes. Enumerating administrative units. So is this like a full rabbit hole right here? What do you guys think about that? Wouldn't it have been cool? There's this password file in SharePoint for Lindsay. It would have been cool if we used that Lindsay password to access Lindsay Miller, and then Lindsay Miller was a user administrator, and then we update our job title to get access to that secret thing. That's how the attack was going in my head. That makes logical sense in my head, but this must just be a complete rabbit hole right here. It was a cool find. So we have our Mega Big Tech Unit 1. We have our Onboard Engineering, initial administrative unit for new engineering hires, and then allows the HR team to manage user property. So it's saying that we have the user administrator role. How come I can't update users? Maybe I can. Maybe I just can't update my own user. So we're logged in as Jeff Armstrong. What if we go back? What? No. Go back to Azure. Who are we logged into here? No one. Okay, amazing. What if we update, can I update properties for Felix? Maybe I just can't update my own properties, but I can do it for Felix, maybe? So if I go to manage users, and I go to Felix, who we've compromised his account, yes! Maybe. Can I actually update it? Oh gosh, I hope I can update his stuff. Because now, if we go back to our dynamic groups, we have this algo access. Grants access to the Mega Big Tech secret algorithm if our user job title equals algorithm administrator. Boom. I bet we have access now. Because of that dynamic group, it's going to put us in the right group so we can read this secret. No? Please wait several minutes. Maybe I just need to wait some time. That should do it, though. If I look at my own account, what's my job title? Algorithm administrator. And then, what was the other dynamic group that we had access to? Server backups. If user principal name contains admin. Surely I can just give them access to that as well. Let's log out back to our user administrator guy, Jeff Armstrong. And how do I go from here back to like Azure? The frick. Let's go to Azure. Portal. Silly. Microsoft, can you fix your broken freaking confusing navigation from app to app? Okay, let's go back to Felix. And it says if user principal name contains admin. Okay, it now contains admin. Look at that. I have an open SSH private key. So that worked. I was able to put myself in that dynamic group. So that's one. And what did my other group do? It gave me access to... Oh, it just put me in the server backup group. Am I supposed to do something with that? I didn't see any SSH stuff. It's just base 64 encoded stuff. Oh, what was our goal? Hold up. What was our end goal? That may be our end goal. If we go back to the top of our scope or scenario, what was our goal? We have identified a public... your red team is attached to the objective of accessing the secret internal algorithm for their social app, which we did. Am I supposed to do something with that? Like, we successfully accessed the secret internal algorithm, and to help to improve the security along the way, we have identified a public GitHub repo that belongs to the company. Can you use this to your advantage? Identify and use GitHub deploy keys. Am I supposed to actually go that far and use them? Okay, let's look at the walkthrough, because I don't know how far I'm supposed to take this scenario. So this is all the PowerShell way of doing it. I think my way was easier to follow, but that's just because I suck at PowerShell. And then we have Felix, right? And then I did that a long time ago. I password sprayed and got Felix. Yep, we got the secret. Yeah, okay. So I put all this together on my own. I gave whatever administrator. There's the secret. Yeah, that's what the deploy key is. Okay. I've never done anything like this before. Save the deploy key locally. We're going to follow the walkthrough for this last part. Save the deploy key locally as deploy-key dot whatever. What? How do they know about this internal thing? We can use the commands below to clone the algorithm internal repo. How do we know about that repo? Oh, because it's there? Did I see that? Hey, what's up? Yeah, if I'm saying your name right. There's like 30 or so free labs on Pwned Labs, and then there's other ones that are premium. There's like 30 that are free. Oh, there it is. Algorithm internal. That's how we know what it is. It's Mega Big Tech Algorithm Internal. So that's how we identify it's an SSH key. Okay. Is that just in the documentation? Let's ask this. All right. I always try to figure out, like, how would I do this if I wasn't looking at the walkthrough? It's already added to GitHub. So they show it different. Okay, let's actually just look at the official walkthrough. How are they doing it? So they did SSHI, so they're passing it the key. Is this from, like, does documentation actually explain this? This part's confusing to me. Add an entry for GitHub, so we're not doing that. Test the SSH connection. That's gonna use, I already have GitHub configured on my VM. It's gonna try to connect to my personal GitHub, is it not? We're gonna just have to follow these commands, guys, because I don't want to screw something up on my own. This part's very confusing to me. For those of you who use GitHub all the time, I bet it's not confusing at all. But for me, oh shit, I didn't even use the right key. I named it deploy.pem. Wow. That part, honestly, if I didn't look at the walkthrough for that part, that probably would have taken me the longest time, like longer than the rest of it, just to figure that out. I'm sure, once again, like developers who use GitHub all the time, this is like the equivalent of who am I in Linux for those of us who use Linux, but I just don't. I don't use GitHub all the time. Like I configured GitHub with SSH access for my personal GitHub, but finding a deploy key like that and then connecting to it, that's quite interesting. I need to study up myself more on that so I actually understand what's going on. Let me go ahead and put in the flag, right? We completed the scenario. Oh, it didn't even copy the flag. I copied the wrong thing. Here's the flag. But let's go ahead and drop the flag in there. Boom. There's my 10 points. That part's confusing though, for real. The rest of it made sense to me. My overall... Oh, what's up, Knoxville? What does he say? I see I just hit 500 subs. I have to say, listen to you is probably the best thing. If nothing else, it helps document. I like the style you have and would like to get into the live stream game. Dude, amazing. Congrats as well on the 500 subs. Yeah, live streaming is fun. Like the biggest challenge with live streaming is just being comfortable looking like a fool half the time. Like people who have never live streamed, you don't understand this, but when it comes to live streaming, you know people are watching your screen. Maybe you have this issue. Like I have this issue even like in a standard workday. If I'm on Zoom or Slack and I share my screen and I know people are watching my screen, it's like at that moment, I forget how to use a computer. Like your mind just goes blank. You take that and like turn it up by 100. And that's what it's like when you're live streaming to multiple people. Like there's a pressure there that causes you to forget the most basic of things, and then people are watching you. So the biggest thing with live streaming is you just have to get over that fear or that ego of not looking like you know what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. Like I'm literally just stumbling my way through these challenges, trying to learn in the process. But a lot of people, I think, are scared of looking foolish or scared of looking stupid, scared of looking dumb. I just recognize we all have that fear, and there's just few of us brave enough to face that fear live on stream. That's why you notice a lot of content creators will make videos like this, but they're not doing it live. They have gone through that machine maybe 3, 4, 5 times. They have all their steps documented on a side monitor, and when they make that 15-minute YouTube video, they're literally just copying the steps that they put on their side monitor. They have all their syntax there because they don't want themselves to look dumb. They don't want it to look like they make mistakes. But like when I watch those videos, I immediately get imposter syndrome because I'm like, how the frick did you come to that conclusion? Whereas when I watch people like a Tiberius or an Al Hazard, I always say his name wrong. I appreciate people like that because they show that full live stumbling process. Both those dudes are way smarter than me, so I stumble more than they do, but I appreciate kind of their style of just going into it live and figuring out as they go. But let's read through the defense, and I'm going to give my feedback on the lab as well. So to start with the Azure Storage account, SAS Token was exposed in the GitHub repo, which allowed us to access the candidate resumes. Yep. The SAS Token allowed us to list the contents, which revealed the resume. If the SAS is going to be used to upload submitted documents, it should not list permissions. That's true. Should be randomized. Yep. Didn't force changing the default password. Remember, that was another big thing that allowed us to compromise 2 users, We saw threat actors are able to edit user profiles, and we were able to do that. And I even took it a step further and gave myself admin access to put myself in the admin group based on the other dynamic group, but that probably wasn't needed. Cool. Really, really fun lab. My feedback, and I'm curious about you guys. Let me just go through here. There's maybe two things. When I was going through this, it would have been really cool to have initial access be Angelina Lee, because we had her resume in that storage container and we had that default password, and she had a promising resume. So if you put the pieces together, it would seem as if Angela Lee was a new employee who was hired and she hadn't yet updated her password. It would have been cool to have her to be the initial entry point, because I would assume someone like Jeff Armstrong, who's a developer, would have updated his password in the real world environment. So that's one very minor feedback on here. The other thing that was more of a rabbit hole that I still don't quite understand why it was there is this Lindsay admin account. We found this Lindsay admin account when we were using Graph Runner, and it was actually searching through a mailbox. Or no, SharePoint. It was searching through SharePoint here. In SharePoint, and there was this password.xlsx that had our Azure Lindsay admin account, which then I thought, hey, if we log in as Lindsay, we would have that user administrator rights to update those dynamic groups, and even gave us the password and everything. And then if we looked at our user list, there was a Lindsay.Miller spelling Lindsay the same way that could have corresponded to that user, but the password didn't work. So that's my only other feedback. It would have been cool for initial access to be Angelina Lee, and then from initial access you find these credentials for Lindsay, and then you search for dynamic groups and stuff, and maybe Lindsay is a user administrator, and you log in as that Lindsay user, and then you do the attack we did where we update our job title that then updates our dynamic group, and then we get assigned to the right dynamic group, and then we have access. But other than that, very minor feedback. That lab was a lot of fun. I don't know what you guys thought. I really enjoyed it. I know there's some other new Pwned labs I need to get caught up on, but really enjoyed that one. For those of you watching on YouTube, hey, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you being here, and I will catch you in the next one.